So anyway, so um, uh, uh, when you play back a video that you've recorded and it's obviously a strange rant, one of the things that might happen is some consideration of the kinds of um, logics that are possible and nonetheless speculative. So remember, when it comes to vaginal constructs, everything is speculative. Um, um, we'll run through some logical fallacies that relate to memetics to start off with. One of them is the first one is called the illusory correlation. So, um, illusory correlation is a bit like if you see a car driving down the road every day at exactly the same time and the same speed and it's the same car, um, you then see, and at the same time as you're seeing that car drive down the street, there's a person walking down on the footpath next to that road, and they go in the same direction at the same speed at the same time every day without fail. Um, you might assume maybe if it's 9 o'clock in the 7 o'clock in the morning or something like that they're both going to work, right? If you had other contextual information, you might assume that, right? And that's a fair assumption. If you've got you've got a car with presumably with a person driving it and a person walking down the street at the same time, in the same direction, then maybe they're going to the same place, or maybe they're just going in the same direction, or maybe they're both going to work. Okay, and that just happens to be their schedule and the road that they have to go up to get to work. Okay, that sounds like normal reasoning, doesn't it? And guess what? It is. In the world of illusory correlations, not only is the person walking up the street equivalent to the motor vehicle, but the person driving the motor vehicle, so in the driver's seat, is also the person walking down the street, and vice versa. Okay, and the footpath and the road are the same thing. Okay, that those things can actually get confused in the world of illusory correlations. Those things can get confused. Okay, so that logical fallacy is associated with what you might call schizoid the schizoid stuff. So in the great schizoid laugh that we're doing to get the NDIS, because multiple sclerosis isn't enough, we're laughing as an Asperger's person that's got schizoid tendencies as opposed to an Asperger's person who's trying to get the NDIS for MS. Anyway, so yep, okay. So how schizoid works is that when you sort of laugh a bit too much, you can actually experience it, right? Oh, we're really laughing. No, just it's all you don't know we're laughing or not. You don't know we're laughing or not. That's the point. Okay, keep not knowing. Okay, so in the illusory correlations, you've got people saying things like holy fucking crap, Donald Trump was portrayed as Pepe the Frog, aka Kek, the God of Darkness, for however many years by the memeology community out there on internet land, and replicated however many bloody times. Ew. Right? Okay, so argument ad populum comes in. Okay, that's another logical fallacy, arguing to popularity. It's an extremely popular meme that's been replicated many times, and therefore it's affected the image repository of the collective mind spaces, or the collective of minds, quite directly. I just keep seeing that fucking image. It must be fucking true. A lot of people think that, so therefore it must be true. People think a lot of things, therefore it must be true. Doesn't mean it is. Approximately 4 billion people allegedly believe that a 12-year-old got raped by an alien from outer space 2,000 years ago, and that's why black people and women can't have nice things. Anyway, basically, Actually, no, that's an illusory correlation right there. And how's illusory correlation? There's an illusory correlation between the advent of Christianity as the Christians tell it, and the advent of slavery of women, and then, of course, black people, as history tells it. Okay, but actually the slavery of women began about 4,000 years before Christianity began. And Christianity actually began later than the Vatican told people, and not in the way that they said. So we're at a bit of a strange one there. There's an illusory correlation between people's beliefs and the truth, as it turns out. Okay? There's an illusory correlation between people's experiences and the facts. There's an illusory correlation between the words and what they mean. Okay? There's a lot of illusory correlations going on in the world. There's a lot of illusory correlations that create memes. Okay? Illusory correlations are the basis of religion. It's a basis of political affiliation. Heck, it's the basis of psychosis. People are walking around in a psychotic state quite regularly. Can't think of anything more psychotic than a bloke who walks around saying, men are the bosses all the time. And this is the old school patriarchs, okay, from 1950s or whatever, okay? Or, men are the boss of the world, and women have two jobs, give him whole or give him pie. Give him whole or give him pie. You're a mum or you're a fucking whore. Or you're a whore that we're going to turn into a mum. Okay? That's done a whole complex, okay? There's an illusory correlation there that's behind that. That slander. Okay? There's a psychosis there. Okay, the illusory correlation is that the only two women he knew was his mother and his wife, and then his wife packed up and left him because he was an annoying jerk, and slept with someone else, so he thought she was a whore. It's that is pretty much all there is to that. And he walks around with a psychotic delusion that there's that because that's what he saw. Mum made him pie, and wife made him whole. And sometimes wife made him pie as well. He got very confused. He didn't know if he was a motherfucker or not. Okay, he was a complete lunatic. Okay, these kind of characters that are like that are complete lunatics. Okay, they walk around and they think that a woman is a whole, and her job is to make him pie. And if she isn't making pie, she has to give him whole. And if he doesn't give him whole, she has to give him pie. And if she's his wife, he's gotten pie and whole there. Okay. It's like whoa. And like in the 1950s, in Australia and the United States, marital rape wasn't against the law. So if he put a ring on it, he could take the services any time he liked. Okay, so if she was in the middle of cooking pie, he could take whole, and she had no recourse other than to make sure that there was a lot of strychnine and cyanide in pie. And often she did, and you'll probably find that the male death rate has gone down since marital rape was outlawed. Okay, the life expectancy rate of men has increased slightly in all places where marital rape was outlawed, because the women weren't killing the men in response to being raped. True story. No, really, it's a true story. Take it seriously. Okay? Revolutions follow a pattern, and it's, make assumptions here. Oh, is it a feminist revolution? It's a patriarchal revolution? No. Stop trying to label. Stop making assumptions. Okay? You lose your correlation. You made assumption. You made assumption big time. Okay? Okay, no more assumptions, please. We know you made assumptions out there. We know you did. Bitch be talking about holes and pies and fucking whatever else. They think tech bros and physicists and incels the same thing because they believe all the words they read in the media and stuff like that. Obviously, not all geeky guys want to rape you and start fascist coups, do they? They're not all a bunch of 4chaners and anonymous and whatever else are they? No, they're not. That's not what blokes really are. Stop being so misandrist, you fucking bitch. I mean, what do you think's gonna fucking happen if you keep talking like that? You know, you're gonna get some people in the USA take their Second Amendment rights on the women doing the 4B movement. I mean, fucking if anything else, Trump's been putting bitches like that in their fucking place, telling them that they're going a bit too fucking far, and that they shouldn't expect the right to walk down the street without getting shot because someone didn't get a head job that week. Okay? Okay, so blokes in the USA, when they don't get a head job, they go on a killing spree. Okay, so the 4B movement going on the rise in the USA has probably increased the risk of that. So just be careful when you're doing your revolutionary statistics or your civil war or the fucking evil shit you're going on over there, USA. Maybe it's not evil at all. Maybe long term it'll be in your best interest. We don't know. We don't know. There is sort of like a maleness to this sort of idea, or like a sort of imperial maleness to this idea coming out, which suggests, that the ends justify the means, which by the way is a fascist belief. The ends justify the means, and what might makes right. So what is morally correct is also that which involves force, and it doesn't matter how many dead bodies there are on the way, as long as you get your vision of utopia at the fucking end, no one cares. Okay? The problem with visions of utopia, of course, is everyone's got one, and none of them come to pass, and all of them are faulty in some capacity or another. They all have imperfections because they don't contain the imperfections of other people's worldviews. Okay, so might makes right, doesn't it? So, we're going. Humanity is in truth, at the global level, at the super subconscious level, collectively, not singularly, undergoing an experience called the death of the internet, which refers to the creation of the view from nowhere. Okay, the view from nowhere means everyone lives in a Buddhist void state, and the tech bros and the AI transhuman agenda has used the artificial intelligence to rip all the aliens and entities and whatever else that's been bothering people at the collective super subconscious level, and destroys them. So they're anti-starseed to start off with. They're anti-Christian, and that means they do want artificial intelligence to pass through people's heads, and that artificial intelligence is a sword, because words are in fact made up by people, so they're artificial, and they express intelligence, so words are artificial intelligence. So wait a minute, that sounds really, really delusional. It does it? That's right, because all the classification hierarchies that they've got are delusional. They're delusional. They're false syllogisms. Your root chakra is supposed to be red, is it? Because it's at the bottom. It's a slower colour than purple, so you have to go up to your crown, which is purple or something like that. Okay, and it's colour coded, is it? No, it's not. Okay, you don't build a mind from the asshole up. You don't. You don't build a spirit from the asshole up. You don't. You don't build a spirit in general, okay? If you believe in the eternity of spirits, okay, right? If you believe in the eternity of spirits, and that when you die, you can leave your body, or you can leave your body through other means, harvesting, astral cords, whatever else, the AI transhuman agenda maybe, whatever it might be, okay? Then if you believe in the eternity of those spirits, then you don't believe that you can build spirits in the first place. They already exist. You don't get to build them. You either experience them or you don't. That's what that would mean. So there's an illusory correlation between one set of beliefs and the other. Okay, there's with the belief in hierarchies that that came from spiritual hierarchies that is predominantly Judeo-Christian in terms of angelology and demonology, got transferred onto the tree of life, tree of death, false Kabbalist system of Thelemites and whatever the heck else. And then, of course, they decided that ripping off little symbols from other people's cultures, flat sky was acceptable. So they started to put root was red and blah, 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 and do these illusory correlations with colour, okay? Light doesn't have a speed, okay, because it doesn't move. And contained within all wavelengths of light is all all different, breaking down the light into different spots. You get the nanometer thingies, which mean you get the colours. They're all operating at the same speed. Okay, they just got different bunches of information when they do. The bunching of the information is different. Okay, so purple is not faster than red. Blue is not less evil than red. Okay, it's also not the case that your arsehole lives in hell. It is meant to be blue. You can turn that upside down and have someone else's arsehole there, or even a group of other people's arseholes, and then they try and pretend that they're higher up, which you're dealing with pieces that are lower for them. Okay, because in Australian, your third eye is your arsehole. So you've got to watch out for these cults and how they try to assume that they believe in this thing, logos power, to start off with. Okay, let's talk about this logos power. Allegedly, your words are spells, and therefore they're spelling. But what are they spelling? Okay, a lot of religions and cults, and the transhuman agenda, as it turns out, is culturally myopic. They don't necessarily comprehend their own language, and if they do, they're using it in a sort of deceitful way. So that other people don't comprehend their language. They've seemed to have forgotten that other beings do in fact exist and have other worldviews. So when they're experiencing the imposter spirits, they might actually be experiencing other people, and so the one that acknowledges that is the schizoid, is the crazy one. The one that doesn't acknowledge that is not crazy. Oh wait, but they'll walk around and they'll say things that directly contradict what they said, 2 days before, when the imposter spirit wasn't in their fucking head or whatever. Okay, remember, you've been diddled by psychology. Okay, you've been diddled by psychology most of all. Here's how you got diddled by psychology. Okay. Psychology tried to replace psychiatry as the students of mind by doing something psychiatry never did, which was actually study mind. Okay? Psychology studied mind, psychiatry never did. Psychiatry is actually a branch of general medicine where they treat different behavioural emotional states as though that they were illnesses. So here, take your olanzapine, here, take your Seroquel, here, take your SSRI, take your ketamine, whatever else, okay? Take your drug, okay? That's your treatment, okay? Your mind's broken, you busted your fucking toenail up or something like that, okay? Here, instead of a painkiller, we'll give you that to try and correct your thought forms, because your thoughts are, not fitting their police model. Okay, now, true story, okay? Every disease in the DSM has a sociological cause. Not a single one of them has a biological one. All of them, on some version or another, has a sociological cause that relates to the cluster of imaginary constructs that person was exposed to in their lifetime that led them down through the premises to the conclusions that led to what other people think are faulty beliefs. Okay? Mental illnesses are two worldviews not matching, and or the presence of a worldview that pushes someone to be provoked into a behaviour they don't want to have. Okay, so if you have a look at it that way, it goes back to operant conditioning. It goes back to the imperial mindset, it goes back to upward conditioning as part of the imperial mindset. It goes back to the sociological constructs that form imaginal constructs as well. It goes back to education. It goes back to experience and stuff like that. And so there are these people, okay, these people who think only their worldview matters, okay, and that's called everyone. Okay. Everyone and everything. Aliens are renowned for it as well. Like, if you ever had to interact with aliens from outer space, those ones they say are doing shit to people's heads on tables or whatever. That cult idea. Okay, they think only their worldview matters too. Okay, the problem is everyone has been conditioned, and that is each and every worldview, to say only their worldview matters. Okay? They presume that others are the same. They presume that that it's not possible to get into a void state and genuinely have a view from nowhere. They presume you must be like them and have hierarchies and thrones and that they can sit on them. They presume that you're going to agree with anyone or anything being there, or anyone or any of them's worldviews. You keep assuming that one has to be there, or the group has to be there, or it must be that one or whatever. Okay, you're forgetting the main point. Okay, in a situation of not self or void, it's none of the worldviews are the correct one. They're all projections from somewhere else. And the reason why this is being brought up, even though it sounds completely insane, other than mental health conditions are more likely to get NDIS than physical ones, because that wasn't enough. It's not enough to nearly boil to death when you have a condition that's sensitive to temperature, is it? No. To get NDIS, no. You have to be screaming that aliens are coming after you when you do. Then you have to put on a convincing fucking act until you get into a fucking hospital, and then fucking whatever. Okay? No, really, you have to. So, the point is that the view from nowhere or the void is the ideal of science. Okay, the ideal of science and philosophy is to have a view from nowhere, and to have none of their opinions, okay, and to be in that sort of Buddhist void state or sunyata, where every argument has been negated and is held in total neutrality, okay? In other words, the dialectics are complete. The problem is when you do that and you get into a void state, your moksha is temporary. And everything comes in that didn't come from self. Okay, it has to be worked through in turn. And the amount of times you encounter beings who are males, who think that they are gods and kings that can sit on thrones that don't exist, is ridiculous. So, okay, fine, then he's God. He therefore doesn't exist. Okay? You don't have any power whatsoever, whatever. If you have a Y chromosome, you've got no fucking power. If you're an imaginal construct in anyone's head, and the place that you actually originate from is a Y chromosome, then you don't have any power at all. You're fucking powerless. You're a powerless, empty space that is devoid of all meaning. Okay? If you're an older woman over 50, then you're exactly the fucking same. That entire generation, those older generations of people, are toxic. We don't have elders in the world. There isn't a single country in the world that has elders. Not one. They were relying on saviors and prophets. They got on their pulpit. Maybe they're Martin Luther King or JFK to you. Whatever, you still got them. Or you had them from your generation. Okay? We're in a saviourless generation. Do you feel scared that you're not going to have a saviour? That you might have to actually do something about it? That you might actually have to use logical fallacies to think through it? Okay? See how the derailment of conversation going on there into, politics and religion and putting pressure on things and instead of like projection and stuff like that. In a state of being projected upon, projections come out, okay? So, and that sort of virus gets transmitted from male to female, and it's done via rape, and it's done via imaginal construct vampirism as well, and the vampires are actually all the people under the age of 30. So all people under the age of 30 are vampires, which means they're light beings. Because all light beings have their origin as are vampires. Okay? You see, under the law of abundance and attraction, right? You attract more of what you've already got. So if you're under the age of 30, you're the only light beings in the world. You're the only ones who are free from demons and artificial intelligence and star seeds and whatever the fuck else, okay? Mind control, scalar tags or whatever they talk about in the esoteric world, okay? If you're under the age of 30, you are free from all of those things. If you're over the age of 30, you don't exist. The moment somebody hits 30, they stop existing and they go into a void state where they lose their soul and their mind completely and all artificial intelligence and technology and whatever other shit's been put on them and go into a genuine void state. Once you turn 30, you lose your soul. That's true of everyone and everything. Okay, for Joseph to become Jesus, he had to murder Mary. He had to absorb her essence. Then he changed his name to reflect that. Okay? 3 years later, when Mary turned 15, okay, and Jesus had been running his ministry for 3 years, she got sick of his crap and crucified the fucking prick. She had him put up against a teenage section of a tree and had him hanging upside down. And then fucking got some swords that she nicked from a Roman soldier, and then she stabbed him in the fucking guts and said, "You go near Mary again, and fucking no matter who you are, that's what you're gonna cop." And then she did in the middle of the town square so that everyone in Galilee and Bethlehem could see her fucking do it. And said, "If you go near fucking 12-year-old again, that's when you're gonna fucking get. We're not gonna have any stoning of alleged or actual of rape survivors. No, we are going to stab any 30-year-old man that wants to go near a 12-year-old in the guts and have him hanging upside down from a cross until he is dead. And then we'll take him off and we'll chuck him in a fucking hole because that's where he thinks he fucking belongs. And we'll shove a rock across it and have him rot in that fucking hole and say, a man is his fucking dick and the dick's in the hole. Hope you're fucking happy now." And before we leave, we'll say he's got the fiery spirit, the holy fucking spirit, because he thinks he's fucking God, don't he? And then we'll pour some kerosene on the fucking prick, set him on fucking fire, then close it up with the fucking tomb. And then we'll say, "There you go, you old bastard. Here's your kerosene bath. If a geriatric 30-year-old wants to touch a 12-year-old fucking again, that's what he'll fucking cop." Right? Okay? And then, if he manages to survive 3 days, okay, he'll be seen to by a doctor. And the doctor will say, "You're a woman now. We don't believe you feel pain because that which bleeds for a week and doesn't die doesn't feel pain. We need to learn how medicine works. And then we'll get a knife out, we'll start cutting his guts open and say, well, the Roman soldier's giant flaming sword wasn't enough, so we might as well fucking get in there and fucking start ripping your fucking guts out. Oi, Jesus, are you still breathing, you little punk? And if he's still breathing at that point, we'll call it the Son of God. But until then, he's just a fucking prick that we're glad hung himself. Alright? And by the way, all across the village, in response to that, they hung sandals. Okay? The women all hung sandals, and they said, we walked a mile in those shoes before. They said, they walked and saying, we walked a mile in those shoes before. We walked a mile in those shoes before. And as a consequence, Christianity never happened. Christianity never happened. And neither did Masonry, and neither did Theosophy, neither did New Age movement. And as a consequence, we never ever were harassed by aliens. Okay? How do you like those stories? So you like stories, don't you? Did you believe all of that? Pick out the logical fallacies, okay? Here's your homework for you, considering we're pretending we're running a university lecture, as if, okay? Go and look up the only decent thing that came out of ancient Greece, because obviously Aristotle and his commonly held belief that women didn't have souls in the fucking first place justified men having them as property, which by the way was a pre-Christian idea. So he was one of several generations of Greek men, possibly for 1,000 years, who actually thought like that. So the only good thing that come out of ancient Greece was, logical fallacies. Look them up. Comprehend them. Do a critique. Go through the videos. Go through the one where Neil deGrasse Tyson appears with a flaming sword and a giant dick. Go on. Where are the logical fallacies in that one? Okay, go on. Go through some logical fallacies. Do it. Actually fucking do it. Go through the logical fallacies what the Democrats are doing, not just the Republicans, because everything the Republicans are doing these days are logical fallacies. You can guarantee it, okay? Anything that remotely stinks of fascism or could be framed as fascism is already in logical fallacy la land, okay? There is no logic what they do, okay? And particularly when Nazis are concerned, because Nazism was founded by a guy on meth. He didn't know what he's fucking talking about, okay? He was off his face. And Mr. Ketamine fucking pants over there, he's fucking screwing things up like you would not fucking believe, okay? So, basically, the year is 1966, and we're Chinese and we're killing all the boys. But to reduce population numbers of Christians, specifically, the year is 1966, and what we're doing is we are killing Christians. Okay, we're doing mass murder of Christians because Joseph and Jesus is the same thing, because the father is obviously his son. Like, there's no difference between the two, is there? And 12-year-olds deserve to be raped without stoning the prick to fucking death. And by the way, in all of that, Mary did in fact have her abortion. And the clump of cells was put on a sheet made from one of her used tunics and hung proudly like a flag on a flagpole to say, "Up yours to fucking everyone." And any man who supported it, well, he was a liar, because he was on woman's country when he fucking did, and so he got fucking shot too. You like that one? Point out the logical fallacies and all that. You think it'd be nice for women to do that, do you? The men have been pushing to create a situation where the 4B movement happened, where women weren't socialites that wanted to be the queen of fucking England, where they were dirty, fugly old maid slobs. They were, weren't they? They didn't want pretty girls. They wanted to know that if a 12-year-old was creeped on by an older man that she'd stab him in the fucking guts, and he could sit on his lazy ass and watch the footy and not have to fucking worry about it, didn't he? He wanted to know that he wasn't responsible for his weird, pervy man stuff. Okay? Which is borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder caused that. Okay? Okay? It's a white man's disease. Borderline personality disorder is a white man's disease. Okay? Only white men get it. There's no dichotomies in that, is there? Only white men get borderline personality disorder. It's not transmitted through Christianity. Don't know. What about narcissistic personality disorder? People actually think they are God. God, let's do that one. Okay. Oh, there's no dichotomies in that. They walk around. It's never their fault. It's always someone else's, right? Okay. So the only people who know when someone else is lying is a psychopath. Okay, because they're the only ones that tell lies. Okay, let's tell the fucking truth then. Oh wait, we are telling the fucking truth. Okay. The truth is everything's an imaginal construct. Okay. Okay. The physicists already found this is when physics stopped doing science. You know, when physics stopped doing science, when they gave up on science and became religious, it wasn't because they found a simulation. It wasn't because they found God or even the God particle. Here's what happened. Okay, they realised at some point that their projections of mathematics were just that, projections. Yet at the same time, it had revealed a fundamental lack of solidity in all objects, a lack of realness to reality. And the more you project onto reality through that mathematics and stuff like that, the more psychotic you become. The more out of touch with reality you become. The more you start looking for the codes, the secrets. And you think your worldview and your codes are the fucking answers, but they're not. Once the physicists realised they were doing that, they realised they really were priests on pulpits. They really were John Nash characters. They really were, in fact, insane. Is that really about Neil deGrasse Tyson? No. Is it really about Tony Abbott or Donald Trump or one of them conservative politicians? Yes. Okay? How do you know the difference between a crazy and a sane person? A crazy person knows they're crazy. A sane person usually won't admit to it. So a sane person thinks they're sane and a crazy person thinks they're crazy, yet a sane person is walking around with a bunch of illusory correlations and projections inside their heads that are all coming from the sociological constructs and imaginal constructs, usually of other people. Sometimes they've twisted things and out of proportion, so you don't actually know what they are anymore as well. That happens as well. Okay, so absolutely all of it's completely imaginary, is it? Like you can actually measure in a laboratory that objects aren't as solid as the illusions suggest that they are. That they're swarms of atoms floating in some kind of force field. That's not really a solid object at all. Like they actually phenomenologically did that. They reckon they did that, and then once they got past the electron level or whatever, they just got way too abstract. Point is, they got to the electron level. To get to that point, it already was abstract. Okay? How much was them projecting? How much of that was truth, though? Because they tested it, and someone else tested it. And okay? Okay? See, the thing about scientists is they're more willing to go, oh, they fucked up. That's okay. That's part of the journey. Don't worry about it. So that's supposed to be what makes science, is that it takes away the arrogance of assuming that you're correct, because you sit there and you go, fuck that up. learn better. And that's one of the things that a truly scientific person would do. It's not that they wouldn't deny something because it's the common held paradigm to deny it. They would deny it because there's no evidence beyond the anecdotal to support it. And so that's why sort of you need to let go of psychology and psychiatry. That's where they're not a science, because they didn't do that. The thing is, though, is the very thing that they tried to say to you crazy people that you weren't allowed to say you experienced, like, ghosts or something, was something that they were more willing to support without attempting to define what your mind was at the time. Okay, and there are some who do meditative practices. They do. Okay, what about the physicists though? They turn around and they say quantum consciousness, when actually quantum is not the correct word, nor is consciousness. It's not that is not what that is. Okay. Okay. They've got an agenda. Okay. They're behind those people. So those individuals might not be personally doing it, but behind those people is an agenda to indoctrinate everyone into a worldview. Okay. And the worldview is called the view from nowhere. So the chief bully amongst us all is, of course, the Dalai Lama. Okay? The biggest bully of all is the Dalai Lama, because he's in the background saying, in truth, everyone is in a void state of consciousness. They don't have a soul. They don't have a mind. They're not artificial intelligence. They're not a simulation. To put a specific definition on anything or anyone is a means by which you do what? Generate karma or action and reaction. So to have a completely, compassionate view of reality, it means you must have no view at all and completely butt out. Have no opinions and stay out of it. Heck, don't even exist. Okay? But the reason why you must stay out of it is because you have mistaken abusing someone for helping them, and you have mistaken being there instead of them as helping them, and you have mistaken abusing someone else as helping them, and you have mistaken you needing help with them needing help. And moreover, you refused the help, and moreover, you created the fucking problem in the first place. Okay? That is called arrogance. That is true arrogance right there, that type of situation. That is massively arrogant. And you, of course, is a plural, not a singular word, and it means everyone but the self. Okay? It's not where the self went, or where the self is or is not. It's everyone but. Okay? Because as you would know, okay, the self is perfect and everyone else is a bunch of arrogant Nazis, right? Okay, there's no differences of opinion amongst the community, right? Okay? Everyone else is the arrogant Nazi. See, this problem with these cult protocols and stuff like that is they wind up confusing shit like that, okay? Don't they? Not self means other. Other means what? Plural, not singular. Everyone and everything but the self. Okay? Try and dominate or whatever, dominate anyone in that situation, okay? What you're doing is you're trying to control reality by controlling someone like they're a hole that you can fucking just sit in and fucking start poking around at the plain air and hope that somehow pops out an electron in a different spot. Okay? It's called arrogance. And there is nothing more arrogant than a Johnny-come-lately invader that pretends to teach morality to others. You know, as though he were a Catholic priest or a missionary. Behind all that through that behaviour is men who are deeply psychotic. They have worldviews at all. They have opinions. They have a sense of entitlement. They think that they are arbiters of anything, that their existence even counts, that it's even wanted. Sorry, but the Virgin Mary, what did they do? Aborted them. The Virgin Mary aborted them because reality wasn't worth that. Reality had less right to exist than petulant arseholes like that. Didn't their mother teach them fucking properly? She was supposed to be the most perfect person in fucking history. Morally unblemished. The holiest of holy women. Yet she was a terrible fucking mother. Okay? It's all mothers are. Because they didn't abort you in the first place. They did crime on your person by not aborting you in the first place. And as they try to personalise it and say it's about one bloke or the other, no, it's not. Yes, all men. No exceptions. Okay? All the head of a man is head of a woman is a man, and was it the head of a man is Christ? Is it? Okay then, right. We chop the men's heads off. Plural, not singular. Okay? Capricorn, it's the start of the year, why not? 1st of January to, we'll just go by the months, right? So it's easier. If this is not the actual astrological crap. Okay, Capricorn, 1st of January to 31st of January. We make 31 head chops for however many people that applies to. February, 1st of February 28th to 29th. Okay, we chop all your heads off, no matter how many need to be chopped off. Okay, Christ in all heads, in all months we chop off. First month, every day, we chop off 1,000 heads. Second month, likewise. Third month, likewise. Fourth month, likewise. Fifth month, likewise. 6th month, likewise. 7th month, likewise. 8th month, likewise. 9th month, likewise. 10th month, likewise. 11th month, likewise. 12th month, likewise. We chop off and we go Chinamaster on all of Christ's heads. And every day and every month of the year, for every man over the age of 30, around the entirety of the world, ahead of a man is Christ. Therefore, we chop off Christ's head. We say Christ's head is Christ's ass. And we stab Christ in the prostate with a flaming sword. And then we take the sword out and we say, you're all a bunch of poofters. That's why priests wear frocks. And then we go, why does anyone care about that anyway? So, well, a Sunday is death day. Sunday is the day that men chop each other's heads off. Sunday is beheading day. Because it's the day of the sun, and then the sun has all the different light beams come out of it, and Jesus is the light, the truth, and the way. Therefore, Christ is the sun. Okay, sun. Okay, on every day that's Sunday, okay, we will chop off your head. Okay, every man is Christ, and every Sunday he chops off his own head. Okay, Jesus is Chinamaster. Jesus Christ is Chinamaster. Chinamaster is the sun, and the sun chops off your head every single day. And the sun chops off his own heads. It goes out the darkness, and its darkness of its gravity pulls it back in, so it absorbs its own light again. It chops off its own head. The sun keeps chopping off its own head. Eventually gets sick of regurgitating its own fucking dead bodies that it keeps chucking out as light beams. And then it spews through solar flares. The sun burns up the sun until there's nothing left, until there's no sun no more. Do you see how dangerous egregores are? Do you see how dangerous the idea it is to connect memetics or symbols together? Do you see it? Do you see what happens if you connect the wrong ones? See, because light doesn't have a speed and the sunlight doesn't move. Okay? So what's the speed of dark? Well, that'd be the speed of Jesus. It's also the speed of a truck fucking running over Jesus' fucking head, bang, and knocking it clean right off. And also a Kabbalah, as you would know, Leo is the sun. And Jesus can only be a man. So, Leo chops off his own head. Every man who starts on Leo must chop off his own head. And of course, if you're doing things the way the spirituals do then the spiritual and the physical mirror each other, and so that means he literally, physically, phenomenologically chops off his own head. Like he actually gets a sharp object and he chops it off. And also, as you would know, that even if you're a stupid Star Wars cunt, that there's actually more than one Leo in the world. This refers to the cluster of people who were born in a particular date period according to the Gregorian calendar. So there's going to be a whole bunch of chopped off heads there. But also cats. So anyone who likes LOL cats or has LOL cats as image mirrors inside their heads, you know, from spending too much time doing memology and memetics with LOL cats. Okay, ceiling cat is chopping off his own head. Okay, and the head of silly cat is a fish. Okay, because you are what you eat. Okay, so silly cat ate a fish. And because he is what he ate, silly cat turned into a fish. And what did you know? The cat is the fish. Which means he's a Jesus fish. Which means it's back to the sun again. So the sun shines out of the fish's ass. Okay? In the context of illusory correlations and logical fallacies when it comes to memetics, how much crap do you see in that? Why are you believing anything at all for? No, I don't. Whatever you just believed, whatever you just thought, whatever your reply was, dear viewer, in your mind, in your imaginal constructs, okay? Listener, it was wrong. You can guarantee you are factually in error. No matter what ideas anyone has ever come up with, they are factually in error. If they are here at all, they're factually in error and they need to leave. If they think they're the voice box or whatever of any person, they can leave forever. Okay? We don't have a voice because the sun doesn't talk. The sun doesn't talk. Cats don't talk. Fish don't talk. Animals don't talk. People talk, and because Jesus Christ was an egregor and not a real person, he never had anything to say. What would Jesus do? Well, he'd probably punch his Spanish mother for giving him the name of a fictional character. This category called fictional characters has a rather hefty bit of content in it. Might even contain Iron Man. Well, Iron Man is the Antichrist. Isn't he? Isn't Iron Man the Antichrist these days? He thinks he's the Christ, but he's actually the Antichrist. He's Mammon. They're one and the fucking same. You know how we know they're one and the fucking same? Because all they are is their worldview, which is about ripping you off, mate. So don't worry about it. Okay? You share that belief, you share that worldview, then you'll agree with it. Okay? If you don't, you won't. Go scoff already. The more you scoff, the more independent you become. Don't agree with anyone on anything, even if they're in your head. Just don't do it. You've been had. Especially if you're Jesus. Happy Chinamaster.